legacy and goals in mind. Next Ag isn't just their name, it's your future. So why wait? Visit their website today at www.nextagrealestate.com or give them a call at 402-380-0432 and turn your dreams into reality. Your land, your legacy, their solutions. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty.
At Koppel, during the holidays, we take time to cherish our terrific staff, community, and loyal customers that continue to drive that money-saving mile to Louisville, Nebraska. Hi, this is Sean Callahan. I can proudly say I bought my car at Koppel. If you are in the area, I invite you to stop by Koppel Chevrolet GMC's offices in Louisville or check them out online at koppelcars.com. On behalf of Koppel Chevrolet GMC, Merry Christmas and safe travels to all.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Attention all Wings fans. 89-cent wings are back on Tuesdays at Buffalo Wings and Rings in Lincoln. Enjoy the best wings in town for boneless or traditional at a price that makes the whole family happy. And now at the Williamsburg Village Wings and Rings, you can enjoy $1.50 tall boys in Bud Light, Coors Light, Busch Light, and Michelob Ultra every day after 7 p.m. and all day on Sundays. Get to Wings and Rings today and make sure to stop by on Tuesdays for 89-cent wings.
New year, new career. The new year is just around the corner. Why not start it off strong with a new career? General Excavating is looking for qualified underground utility project managers. Check out our website, generalexcavating.com, or call 402-467-1627 for more information. Happy holidays from General Excavating.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock with A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. If you're looking for an automotive repair facility you can genuinely trust, we would be grateful for the opportunity to earn your business repairing your vehicle. We have ASE master technicians and qualified to work on a variety of vehicles from Hondas to Porsches, Jaguars to Toyotas, and Chevrolets to Fords. We pride ourselves on customer service and relationships, and we would be grateful for the opportunity to serve you. Give us a call at 402-477-4660. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
You're listening to 93.7 The Ticket's coverage of early National Signing Day, sponsored by Members Own Credit Union on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Old School, sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Broadcasting veteran Derek Pearson.
When you find something that moves them, that makes them smile, celebrate it. That's your task. That's your superpower.
Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score!
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Happy National Signing Day, Hump Day, and all that. This is Jay Foreman, Austin Orman. We're coming at you live from 1040 O Street. We are brought to you by the Mercado Certified Piedmontese Special Ingredients and Butcher Shop, 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill. I always tell people every type of meat and every type of cut, especially with the outlook on the weather, man. You could get a couple more, grilling days in. So it's National Signing Day. It's a big day. I think Austin, recruiting, the early signing period, which is taken over, versus the late, is just as important as far as in your job description or how you are building a program or a staff as essentially wins and losses, because obviously, there is a little bit of correlation of the talent you recruit and then hopefully develop leads to wins and losses. I think the transfer portal has changed that a little bit because I don't think you get to really develop kids as much because of the right now mindset, and I want to play right now, and I can go somewhere else and get an opportunity. But we are close to free agency. But before we even dive into that, or we won't today. National Signing Day was pretty cool this year, I felt, because of, this is Matt Rule's, in my opinion. I mean, he did a good job last year, but this first year where they could really see the landscape of, obviously, of Nebraska kids and really, implement what they want to do. And they have a better idea of what to recruit or what type of player to recruit based on their experience this year in the Big Ten. Now, I'm sure they knew coming in, but seeing it in real life, I think, really helped out. You saw them go out and obviously recruit and flip some guys and not be afraid to, put their ideas and their programs and the situation up against anybody. And obviously, whether it's Dylan Raiola or Bricks or anybody like that, they've done well. It goes without saying. I think they got 6 former Nebraska players' sons in this class, which is huge. That's great. But one of the guys that when I was here, which is funny, is because I remember a conversation me and Damon used to be we're about to bring Damon Benning on. We were on punt return together, mind you, running back, linebacker, and just used to be in the same situation talking about that stuff. Had one conversation I remember, and I'm not sure I asked Damon as soon as he comes on. He was talking about Caleb, and he was playing on a club team, and he can probably obviously tell you more. And it came down to, he's the best player and all this other stuff. Would he get what he needs to, deserve? And then now we're fast forwarded. He's the best player in the state. Probably was the most dominant, obviously, throughout the whole year. Obviously, last year injured a little bit, but the state championship game, I think, cemented it in both of them. It goes without saying. He's obviously he's done great by me, helping me get into this media career, and he's done well himself. We want to welcome to 93.7 The Ticket, Damon Benning. What's up, my man?
My man, how we doing?
It's not about how we doing. How you doing, man? One of the questions I want to ask you, Damon, just be honest. I mean, listen.
Listen. You can ask me anything, and I am.
Yeah. Well, first of all, we're gonna cover a whole bunch. But I was telling him about this story when you called me up, and I think Caleb was, playing youth football or whatever. And it came to the end of the year, and he was like, man, he was really dominant. And then you were saying, should I say something? I don't want to overstep my boundaries. And then it kind of all worked out. And remember I said, listen, your son can play. I've already heard about it. He can play. The cream will rise to the top. Here we are, 5-6 years later, I think, approximately, even more than that, maybe. How does it feel, man, to, see him go through this process that we went through many, many moons ago? To see him go through this process, and then a cherry on top that he's going to Nebraska, which is a place that me and you love, dear to our heart.
Okay, so listen, you asked me to keep it 100, so I'm going to tell you because you'll understand this better than anyone, or almost as well as anyone. So it's twofold. I'm super pumped. I'm like, man, listen, he's worked hard. He's starting to put his body back together. He's never really trained for one season.
Right.
He's ultra competitive, ton of upside. Like the staff, like I know kind of how they feel about him compared to the rest of this recruiting class. So all that's good. It's great. But you know what I still struggle with is, like, at the end of the day, there's still like this skepticism, like this doubt, like. When I look at him compared to the other guys in the class, and I know you're like, man, you won't because you know how I am.
Right.
But in my former life, I spent all this time talking about other people's kids, right? I've done it for 20 years. I've never really said this about my own kid.
Right.
And so there was a stretch, as you know, where I was like, man, do I do this local media thing? Do I not? I feel like a sitting duck. I can't be real even keeled. Because I wanted to say, in my heart of hearts, I'm like, this guy is the best player in the state. What are we talking about? Right? Like I played against them all. I've coached against them all with the exception of Carter Nelson, right?
Right.
And I felt like through the recruiting process, it was driving me crazy that people felt like some, I know it's the minority, vocal minority. He's either slow playing or he's not this or he's not that. And in my head, I'm like, I've seen this 1,000 times. You guys have no idea. Like, You don't. Is there room in the class? They're taking this many. I heard it all,
right.
And quietly, he'll tell you he keeps receipts, right?
Yeah, we've seen it.
But we manage it from a healthy standpoint because he's so competitive.
Right.
So at the end of the day, I'm listen, man. You know me. I can go out. I can buy Husk. I can be a fan. Right. Which I've never really outwardly done. I love Nebraska, but it's not like my job has always said, hey, you either need to be objective. If I'm Big Ten Network, hey, I know this is a broadcast, let's be objective. If it's, radio, it's, let's be even keeled. This is not always rainbows and butterflies because there were some warts, right? This time with him in this mold, I just get to be a fan. So that part I absolutely love. I've quadrupled my Nebraska wardrobe because I had 2 zip-ups. So, man, I'm feeling it's all good in the neighborhood, as you like to say.
And I wanted to ask you, man, just because, obviously I had to follow my dad, and obviously, the same thing, Caleb had to follow you. Talk about the conversation that I'm assuming that you had and said, look, Caleb, I'm your dad. I'm going to support you no matter what. Go do your thing. And how that affected him, because I think if just by knowing Caleb from afar, it's allowed him to do all the things he loves, right? Play football, play basketball at high level on the Adidas team, and just feel fine in his own skin and then also as a young man that, my dad is there for me and it has nothing to do with what he did.
Oh man, that's a beautiful question. It was really, really hard. So early on, I had some regret. So probably when he was 14 or 15, 13 or 14, I had a little regret, right? Should I have forced this on him more? Should I have showed him more film? Should I, he found out that I had an Orange Bowl trophy because he was looking for a winter coat in the closet. It's not out, right? I tried really, really hard not to cram Nebraska down his throat because I saw the pressure that it put on my brother. He's Don Benning Jr. and following my dad's footprints and being in Omaha. And I knew what it was like for me in the community with school, right? Oh, does your dad know this? Or does your dad? So I kind of shielded him from that. But there came a point where I'm like, if he likes these schools more than he likes Nebraska, it's going to be very hard on him. Now, I love him more than I love Nebraska. So I would have gotten around to it. But I struggled, and I knew I could potentially be in trouble when I was coaching at a high school before COVID that we had, we played in 5 out of 6 state championships. And he's like, you know what? I don't want to go to that school. I want to do something different. I like this kind of scheduling. I like the dual sports here. And I'm like, you're really not going to go to the school where I coach? So, I'm telling you, I went through the gamut of emotions, if I'm being 100% honest about building him to be his own man. Because we talk to each other. It's cool. I love our relationship. He kind of sounds like me. He's very measured, right? He's not going to say anything too out of pocket. He's a quick, he knows what he's doing with a microphone. And I'm glad he's comfortable because this whole time, whether it was Wisconsin or Duke or Iowa State or K-State or even Kansas, right? When Coach Leipold was like, this is my last stop. There were things that I was worried about. But I felt like if he's ever going to do and function at a high level, I just know him. He's going to have to be comfortable in his own skin. So I just let the process play out.
One of the things that's really cool, obviously, everybody doesn't know, I just saw Damon last night because Westside related. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to try to get him on. I knew you were going to be busy, but I knew it's a celebratory day, so I didn't know what the schedule was. And then I was like, I know Caleb got basketball practice, especially after the way they played last night. They better be on the court.
I'm telling him too. I'm telling you said that because they're at practice right now.
He was good, but the other dudes, we got to get some layup drills going on. But that's
he started for a guy that got right into it. This is the earliest he's transitioned.
Right.
Like, I feel like he's off to a really good start. He's shooting the ball well, and still not as aggressive as I'd like. But, yeah, man, like, it was the classic. You said it best. You hurt my feelings, but you can relate when you said, man, this was like 1996 Arizona State. I'm like, man, you're so right. Like, you go out and you're playing against a team that's hungrier than you are.
Right.
You sleepwalk. It's a sandwich game. They got Bellevue West tomorrow. Oh, man, that's how you get down 28-12 just like that. Because Southeast, you know, 2 guys hit 4 threes that aren't even on the three-pointing scouting report.
Right, yeah.
And the guy that was shooting 60% from 3 didn't attempt a 3. So it was one of those nights, man. Southeast had their back against the wall, and they played hard, much harder than Westside did.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to ask you, though, about which I picked up on last night while I was watching is, you know, Caleb plays. He's been playing, high-level basketball for seems forever, but obviously plays on the Adidas team, or played last summer on the Adidas team.
Yeah.
Talk about, obviously, again, him feeling free within himself to play basketball when a lot of people would say, you know what, you need to do 7-on-7. You need to be trying to just lift weights and run sprints.
You're trying to get me to lose my mind.
No, but listen to this, though. But to have a game plan that he's able to go and play basketball with some of the guys that actually are going places to play basketball and learn different skills that actually correlate to him to make a quick transition to when he went and played 7-on-7. And I just saw it on Twitter where he had 2 or 3 touchdowns and just came right off the basketball court and started doing work. Talk about that versus.
So it's cool. It's rainbows and butterflies now. Right. Like but I'm telling you, man, I struggled quite a bit because he loved basketball was his favorite sport up until, I don't know, probably 10th grade.
Right.
So I felt like we were always taking a back. Football was always taking a back seat.
Sure.
He never wanted to get too big. He didn't want to get too bulky. Like I heard it all, right? And we're traveling, and I'm going broke. Feeling like I got to take out a second mortgage because you're right. He's played on the shoe circuit for 3 years.
Right. Yeah.
And so in my head, I'm like, I'm losing my mind. I'm like, I'm watching these other guys train. I'm watching guys that are getting scholarship offers basically from 7-on-7. Like I'm in full-fledged panic mode, right? But at home, like we have these rules, and there are things that he and I are non-negotiables. When he doesn't want to talk about sports and being competitive, we don't talk about sports and being competitive. We don't talk about sports over the dinner table. You give it 30 minutes after a game instead of being in the car carrying on, right? So they're just some non-negotiables. So going through that, I just kept it to myself.
Right.
But inside, I'm kind of steaming. But as his sophomore year kind of rolled around, and he had, I remember we were talking to, well, I can say the school now. We talked to Wisconsin, right? And he was in Madison, and he said, your sophomore football film is offerable on it's offer worthy on the spot. We don't have any junior tape that we don't know. And I remember how that sat with him. Like it just irritated him because in his world is, if that tape is good enough, what more do you want to see? I'm only getting better. Like these are the things that he says. So what it forced him to do was, after he was getting all the attention as a sophomore, he basically went to work.
Right.
He just got in the lab.
Right.
And so when he broke his collarbone early, I can't remember who it was Bellevue West, and it was early. That's the first time that I've ever heard him question anything that's ever happened to him. You're right. I'm coaching the game. I'm co-coordinator of our defense, and he's in the tent, and I didn't want to go back there because I thought he just got his bell rung. And Doc kind of gave me the cutthroat symbol, like, yeah, no good. And he goes, he broke his collarbone. And I just remember this empty feeling. And you know, he looked at me, he's got tears in his eyes, and he's like, why me? I just try to do everything the right way.
Right.
And I had to go back out and coach, which was really, really tough. But my staff was like, hey, Coach B, you know, if it was Coach Simon, he's like, DB, you know, we need you. Hang in there. Like, we got a job to do. And so I was like, okay, redial. But during the rehab process and waiting and all that, all he wanted to do was train.
Right.
So when I look back at the cross set of skills and the competitiveness, because he played against the who's who, you know, the Mikey Williams, like, you know, he was in the 6th grade playing against Bronny James, and he's 2 years older than him, right? So the competitiveness, the footwork, the IQ, the hand, the stuff like that was all portable. But what doing it while he wasn't training for football did when he was hurt was he came back with kind of a vengeance.
Right.
And so the off season between, you know, he played in the state finals and he came back way too early. I told you, like, things nobody knows, right? Like, I didn't want him to play on offense. He wasn't supposed to play offense. He was only supposed to play defense. But, you know, Jalen Lloyd sprained his ankle the week before, and so we're in full-fledged panic mode because, you know, Gretna's got Zane Flores, and I mean, these guys are real. They just beat us the year before, and with every catch he made in the state championship, like, my heart, I cringed. Like, I just was like, we just got cleared 3 days earlier. We played on a Tuesday. He got cleared that Friday.
Right.
And so he came back too soon a little bit. And so in May, he had his adenoids out because he's one of those weird kids where they grew back, and we had to shave his collarbone down because it didn't heal right.
Right.
And so he's behind a little bit again, and now he's just mad. So all he does is train.
Right.
And so it's just weird how it was a slow developing process, but it like got kick started because I didn't force one thing down his throat. He grew to love and appreciate it on his own accord, which, thank God, like, ultimately was kind of the difference maker.
In your opinion, or when you guys had that talk, you know, obviously when Caleb, you know, committed, and he had plenty of offers. I remember when you guys went down to Vanderbilt, which was, you know, the spring game, and that's when they were on the come up with Dan Jackson and all that, and very appealing. And Nashville's a great city, a lot of opportunity. But what was it?
Yeah, Stanford, like, it was weird. It was weird.
What was it about? How was that conversation when he said, "Look, Dad, you know what? This is where I'm going." And I know you probably had to hold it close to the vest because it was Nebraska. But how was that conversation? Because I know we had ours with our people. How was it as a father, and how far Caleb's come, and the whole situation to come to that?
You know how he told me? Do you know how he told me? In true Caleb fashion. You know, he's really close to my wife, and you know, I'm just like, man, thank goodness I got a second do-over, right? And so they're always plotting and conspiring, and he comes in one day and he like gives me this T-shirt, and it's all folded, so I knew something was up because he can barely do laundry, right? Like he knows the digital dials, but he's certainly not folding anything. And he's like, Dad, man, I wanted you to have this. And I just wanted to say thank you for everything. And I looked at it and I was like, man, what are you doing? And he said, unfold it. And it was a Nebraska T-shirt, and on it said #GBR. And I just, sure as I'm sitting here, there's like 6 people that even know that this was what happened. I just like fell to my knees. And I'm like, you son of a gun, are you serious? And it's the first time that I like picked him up off the ground with a hug since he was probably 6 years old. Because he's not that guy, right? Like he's not the warm, fuzzy, touchy-feely guy. And
I talked to him, and he was like, Dang, man, what's up? He be looking at me crazy.
That's how he is. Yeah. That's he's very, very cautious.
Right.
But when he's all in, man. So that's in my heart of hearts, I was like relieved.
Right.
Because I thought it got hectic late. I remember we were in the playoffs, and And that's when all the scuttlebutt, because now I can tell these stories, right? I should write a book one day, but Notre Dame came by Westside the morning after they were out in Ainsworth.
Right.
And obviously they were coming to see Teddy, and, their coach pulled me to the side, and we had like these intense conversations, and, they were making the Xavier Watts comparison. And I was like, oh, that's funny. That's kind of who he patterns his game after, and his personality. Because if you know X doesn't say boo, right? He doesn't speak unless spoken to, and he's been through it, right? He's waited 3 years to kind of flourish. He's changed numbers 4 times, so we're really close with that family. And he says, he's like, hey, what are we doing here? Do we go through with this? And Caleb looked right at him, and he was like, thanks, but no thanks.
Right.
Wisconsin the second time around, because we hadn't heard from Coach Hitchler and Coach Tressel in like 3 weeks. But right after the Bellevue West game, this was week 3, then it was like, pressure's on again. So he's just one of those guys that if you're not in it to win it, then he just can't be a part of what you're doing. And Nebraska, they didn't leave our in-home until midnight. So it's things like that he gravitates towards, because deep down, he's like most people, man. People want to be led.
Right.
And they want to be around people that they can trust. And that's definitely what this staff did, especially the last 4 or 5 months.
Right.
I heard it from the peanut gallery. Is there enough room? And there's all these DBs and blah, blah, blah. But I knew what Nebraska felt about him because they were telling him.
Right.
And so they allowed him to kind of to grow the relationship so they could feel like he was being his own man. And so I appreciate that approach that they took.
Damon, before we let you go, man, I think people always focus on, Caleb as the player, right? I mean, that's what all they see. They don't get obviously birthed a young man, did everything else. You know him better than anybody. For our listeners down in Lincoln, because you guys are up in the metro, right? I got it right. You guys are up in the metro. Don't get me started on the metro. But for the people in Lincoln, and then obviously for people that are, listening, we got people all over the state listening. Tell me the top 1 or 2 qualities. I know these because I asked you, right? 1 or 2 qualities about Caleb that's going to set him up just to have a chance to be good. Because I already know what he's going to do, but I don't ever like to overestimate. I always like to underestimate and over-deliver. Talk about, because he's got some unique qualities. I saw him last night. The ability to not blink, the competitive nature, and then the freeness to go out there and play. But what's your opinion? You're his dad. So
2 of those are my favorite 2 of the 3. Number 1 is he is not afraid of the moment. He loves to compete. So even if he's missed 12 weeks and it's Gretna, like that's the big stage. If you watch him in summer basketball, it was always against the ranked guards that he played his best basketball. So he's always, even as a kid, embraced the moment. And that has a lot to do with his he's just calm by nature. He didn't talk until he was almost 3.
Right.
So we were kind of concerned, but it's paid dividends because he chooses his words very carefully. He just goes out there and does. So he's always been like that.
Yeah.
Number 2, he's hyper competitive. He's able to kind of know where he is in his surroundings, and situationally he knows, whether it's a rebound, a pick, a deflection.
Right.
Like he's very in tune with that. But the other thing is he wants to be in environments where all he has to do is hang in there longer than you do.
Yep.
Where sometimes it doesn't always boil down to like top end talent or whatever. He just wants to be able to outlast you.
Right.
Because all he's ever heard is what did we hear? What did we hear since we stepped foot on that campus? You got to train in such a way where time doesn't matter. Your will to prepare to win has to be greater than your will to win. So he just will hang in there.
Right.
And if it's truly a program, and Coach Coop said this because he talked about all the winning plays that he makes, and he's very into, like, Coach Coop knows a lot more than what he says. he doesn't say a ton, but you can tell he has like that supreme confidence. It's not cocky, but he's very sure of himself. And he said, situationally, one of the things that he appreciated was that he did the right thing in the right moments, right? And he was going back to different games and stuff. And for Caleb, I think what he kind of thrives on is if you're a fat trimmer and it's survival of the fittest and it's about who can hang in there the longest, those are the kind of environments he wants to be in. And that's how Nebraska's building their roster. Right?
Yeah.
Like, that's great. I welcome the competition. You have to outlast me.
Right.
So, and if it's truly survival of the fittest, then he thinks advantage him. So I think that will serve him well in the long run. And as you know, he's just getting started.
Right.
He's played in the secondary for 2.5 years, and he's played receiver for 1.5.
Right.
So the only thing that he naturally does is play special teams.
Right. And that's good though. Listen, I played offense. I couldn't wait to get on defense. So hopefully he got a lot more athletic ability than me. So he's gonna be all right, man. Again, man.
I just hope he's half as tough. That's the thing.
Yeah, he was plenty of tough last night, boy. Them boys had a little mark on him. I don't know what the problem was, but
So he and Hilkeman, they go way back, and so does Tamor. So it's he's going to try to stand on business.
Yeah. Well, plenty of time left. But again, congrats to Caleb. Congrats to your whole family, because it takes a village.
100%. I appreciate that.
Day, man. Appreciate you coming on, man, and celebrate, dude. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this is a great day. I mean, who would have thought, David, when we'd be sitting over there, I don't know how many years ago, that the little Caleb is up in there, man. And so I'm excited for you, man. I appreciate you coming on.
I appreciate all the support, man. Showing up at games when he was younger, and I mean, you've seen this for about 5-6 years now, man. So I appreciate it.
I'll reach out to him. I know he's a basketball. So, man, congrats and thanks again.
Thanks, Jim.
Yep. Yeah, it's a good segment, and former teammate. I mean, they got 6 former Huskers, but Damon, we were crossed over and stuff. So, for people out there, if you go back and listen, there's a lot of stuff in there. What you're going to get with Caleb and a lot of guys in the class. So we're going to take a quick break, 2 quick segments, and catch back up. And then we got another teammate of mine that has a big influence on this class as well, Steve Warren, at the 5:00 hour. Jay Foreman, Austin Orman, Old School. We'll be right back.
You're listening to 93.7 The Ticket's coverage of early National Signing Day, sponsored by Members Own Credit Union on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. You're listening to Old School with DP and J. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Load up on meat and more this holiday season at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese at 84th and Havelock. Keep posted to the Mercado's social media pages for specific daily deals from now all the way through Christmas Eve on December 24th. Don't forget their 2 new locations now open at 30th and Yankee Hill in Lincoln and 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric brings exciting career opportunities for you or someone you know. They are now hiring plumbers, electricians, and HVAC techs and installers to continually build their professional team. They offer competitive pay and full benefits packages that include health, dental, vision, PTO, and 401k options. Action has created a positive team environment for over 50 years. Apply online at actionlincoln.com.
Okay, it's time to sell the house. How do we even begin to choose from the hundreds of realtors in town?
Easy. We make a pros list.
You mean a pros and cons list?
No, just a pros list. We need someone with pro photography to showcase the house in the best possible way, pro marketing to make sure we get maximum exposure, pro negotiations so we know we get the best price.
This is one of those times where you already know the right answer, isn't it?
You know it is. Ben Bleicher and Professional Realty Group.
Contact Ben Bleicher and the team at Professional Realty Group of Berkshire Hathaway's Home Services Ambassador online at prg-ne.com.
At Koppel, during the holidays, we take time to cherish our terrific staff, community, and loyal customers that continue to drive that money-saving mile to Louisville, Nebraska. Hi, this is Sean Callahan. I can proudly say I bought my car at Koppel. If you are in the area, I invite you to stop by Koppel Chevrolet GMC's offices in Louisville or check them out online at koppelcars.com. On behalf of Koppel Chevrolet GMC, Merry Christmas and safe travels to all.
Integrated Life Choices has been inspiring opportunities for individuals with disabilities for more than 15 years in Lincoln and across Nebraska by offering a number of services. From group homes to independent living resources and job training, you'll find the support that allows people to live fulfilling lives. They're also hiring. If you're looking for a rewarding career supporting people with developmental disabilities, you can check out open positions along with learning more about services at ilc.net. Integrated Life Choices.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock with A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. If you're looking for an automotive repair facility you can genuinely trust, we would be grateful for the opportunity to earn your business repairing your vehicle. We have ASE master technicians and qualified to work on a variety of vehicles from Hondas to Porsches, Jaguars to Toyotas, and Chevrolets to Fords. We pride ourselves on customer service and relationships, and we would be grateful for the opportunity to serve you. Give us a call at 402-477-4660. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
Are you working in or looking to get into the electrical construction industry? The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
I'm Sergeant Jones with the Nebraska State Patrol. Driving drunk puts everyone on the road at risk. In Nebraska, over 30% of all roadway fatalities occur in alcohol-related crashes, and every one of those could have been prevented. The decision to give your keys to a sober driver could be the decision that prevents a roadway tragedy. Help keep Nebraska roads safe and always drive sober. This message is presented by the Nebraska State Patrol and the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
You're listening to 93.7 The Ticket's coverage of early National Signing Day, sponsored by Members Own Credit Union on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Back to old school with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What up? We are back. Jay Foreman, Austin Norman, old school again. Coming. We're 1040 O Street, but again, we want to thank Damon Benning to come on, former teammate, but obviously father of Caleb Benning, right? He's got to get used to if Caleb plays well, they're gonna come up and say, "Man, aren't you Caleb's dad?"
He's not Damon's son.
He's Caleb's dad. He's Caleb's dad. He better get used to it, man. I mean. It's a hard thing to do. I think the first time it happened to my dad, and the only place that it happens is here in Nebraska. But look, Caleb has really prospered and really taken off. And the great thing about him is he's has the ability to play multiple positions and obviously get on the field on special teams. And I always say that if you can play special teams, you will end up starting a lot faster than somebody that's a quote-unquote one-trick pony, right? Only can play offense or defense or only play receiver and not open to position changes. And I think when you're getting a football player and that's what Nebraska's needed, football player and a competitor, and he knows, you already know what kind of stock he's coming from. And the stock, I mean, the support at home and all that stuff. And I think one of the things that I was going to ask Damon, but I already know the answer and tell everybody is that dealing with pressure and learning what it's like to operate in a high level, I guess, high school program, is probably going to allow him to transition a lot faster than some other kids. And, I'm sure he'll, go in there and compete like he's, always done and just keep at it and, developing all the stuff that you need to do to, continue to move along the process and be successful. And, it's always good to have him come on. Good. It's good for him. I mean, I can only imagine you're sitting up there and kind of, to be coaching, kind of moving while your kid's playing, but then to sit back and say, you know what, my kid's good. He's gonna be good wherever he's at. It probably, allows him to sleep pretty good at night, and then you kind of get the pen to paper, probably the finale.
It was fascinating hearing Damon's side of this, because I think there are plenty of Nebraska fans who throughout this process were, come on, your dad played here. You're right up the road. Why are you taking so much time with your decision? From the fan side, though, I would say it's probably better that he took his time and made sure Nebraska was the right fit, because you don't want guys going to Nebraska just because.
For the wrong reason. Yeah.
Right. The fact that he's bought into this program, he sees himself there with a vision that fits what it is he wants, gives him not just a better chance to stick, but succeed.
Right.
So I would say, yes, the excitement for all the in-state kids they signed, Caleb Benning included, is great, but you want to make sure that they want to be here. They see themselves here long-term, because that helps you get not just these guys, but the guys after them and the guys after them.
Yeah, laying the foundation throughout the whole state. I think when the staff kind of was getting, formulated last year, I think, Coach Foley, the special teams coach, it seemed like he hit every high school from here all the way out to Scotts Bluff. I'm sure he did. I mean, he didn't miss many. And so that kind of put the foundation of, all right, Nebraska's going to evaluate everybody. And I think it probably helped to get a Carter Nelson. I mean, you reach every point of the state sometimes for good players. And then when you have a well-established program as Westside, where they're sending multiple kids to Division I or high Division II or FCS schools and stuff like that, it's not as easy as you think to get, kids to come 45 miles or 45 minutes down the road to your school based on some of the things that didn't come to fruition of the past. And so it's not just Westside, it's Bellevue West, it's Elkhorn South. These are all programs that have had multiple kids go to high-level Division I programs, so they know what to look for. And I think it really helps when you think of Nebraska, where, he took his time. He's had plenty of offers throughout everywhere, whether it was, I know he went down to Vanderbilt and he liked it a lot because, I talked to Damon about it, whether it's Wisconsin. I know Minnesota was on him a lot. Kansas State. You're talking about a wide variety of programs, so it'll let you know he has the ability to fit a whole bunch of different places. So that's a good thing, right? So that means he's not schematically gridlocked into only doing one thing. So, and in his case, taking his time to making sure he's got to look at the whole picture. His dad played here. His dad was a captain, Orange Bowl MVP. The Benning name is in Nebraska history, especially with his dad. And so there's that kind of, I always say, that outside pressure that has nothing to do with him, and then not be afraid to step up and create his own path. I think the thing that he did was like, okay, well, where's he at? And all this, all this stuff in the summer. Well, he's playing basketball. So you're like, okay, well, why isn't he doing football? But I think he was looking at basketball as a means to make football easier. It made him a lot more fresher. It made him a little bit more competitive. We know this, Austin, because we coach basketball, and I always tell people this. And I had the same conversation with my dad, and where he was telling me, he was like, basketball will help your football, because I was getting the same questions. Why don't you train for football? Why are you playing all these sports? My dad was like, basketball will help you with football. Football helps you with basketball. And here's why. Your football is a collision sport. That means you're running into somebody at full, capacity. So when you get on the basketball court where you're always in contact, that's like nothing. And so when you watch him go against a kid that's 6'5", 6'6", and he's not backing down and bodying him, and he's sturdy, well, that's what you're getting at. And then if you're playing defensive back or receiver, when you're playing, you're backpedaling basketball. You got to break, you got to anticipate, you got to play angles and all this other stuff. So then when you think of him playing corner or safety or whatever he's playing, or receiver, he's actually getting like live reps on a daily basis. It's almost like overload. Like where if you play 2 games a week, you have to have Sunday off. So you're getting 3 days of practice of football skills. Yeah, you're not lifting and doing all that other stuff, but there's a time and place for that. So I think the ability to do other things and look at it like at a different view allowed him to come to the conclusion. And then also the coaches, like you talked about Coach Cooper, and obviously Coach Rule's probably heavily invested in it, is that they know the kid, and they really evaluate the kid and the family. They know how he thinks. You're not going in there and say, okay, well, all right, we offered you on Monday. We got to hear back in 3 weeks, or we're gone. They knew it's a little bit slower process based on knowing the player and knowing the dynamics, and that's why you're able to not lose a in-state kid just because he doesn't move as fast as normal offers or reception of an offer, and then you come to this conclusion today, you get the best player in the state.
Never gone through the recruiting process. Obviously, that's passed me by. I've never been on the coaching side of it either. I can understand the temptation to make demands and try to set the timeline, but I can only imagine as a high schooler going through this process, making the biggest decision of my life to this point, I would want to take my time. I wouldn't want to be pressured into doing it on someone else's timeline. I would hope I'd understand the business of it. Like, yeah, they'd like to have an answer by then.
Sure.
You understand their perspective, but pressuring a kid into making a decision is a good way to make sure they don't make the right decision or the best decision. Could they luck into it? Absolutely. But I think as a high schooler, again, if I was in any of those shoes, I would want to be able to make my own decision, not feel like I was forced into the situation. And if a coach was pressuring me to make a decision, again, maybe it is actually the best football fit for me, but it's not going to feel like the best personality fit or like they truly have my back. It'll feel like they want me for their sake, not for my sake, which would, nudge me away from that school.
It might lend to more kids in the transfer portal, or, you're not going to the school for the right reasons. And look, business needs to be done. Things move a lot faster now because of the transfer portal, where you got guys, I was just talking to Bach in there, where Georgia's starting linebacker is in the portal. He's going to Kentucky, and he was a part of 2 national championship teams. He was a finalist for a Buckus in 2022. Had 40-some tackles and 3.5 sacks as a middle linebacker. Got hurt, broke his forearm. A freshman starting, and then they have an incoming freshman. So now Georgia over-recruited him. Hence, a little bit of a little intel. That was a real-life example that when I could talk to a former teammate and his son. But that moves a lot of recruiting a lot faster, right? And sometimes that's why you can get in this vicious cycle of pressure from guys in the portal you think are ready to play or more apt to make an instant impact. Then you force a high school kid, or you can go out and kind of pull offers and all that. Next thing you know, 2 or 3 years down the road, you're playing the same game again.
Or you're desperate because so many guys left because they saw you playing that game. That now you have to get them, but you have the track record of running them out.
And you don't want to be the school that, and the only reason I say this is, which I don't think Nebraska is anymore, is when I was in Houston, like all the agents love when their clients got to be free agents, because you could go to Houston and get overpaid and then underperform. You don't want to be that university. I don't think they're doing it. And when you're trying to build it and build depth through the high school ranks and competitiveness and be choosy through the transfer portal, that lessens that. Then that knows that it makes the offer and that much more respected. So good segment. I encourage everybody to go back and listen to it, because there's even more into it, more in there as far as knowledge in the thought process that can help you out in the future, but then also dig into recruiting of one of the more high profile players in the state over the last couple of years. We're going to go to break. Come back at the top of the hour. We got Steve Warren from Warren Academy, the man, the myth, the legend that has coached a lot of players on this team, on Nebraska team, but also in this recruiting class. I want to talk to him because he's like the favorite uncle that just
Godfather.
He's the Godfather. He's the Godfather of development and stuff like that. I want to ask him, how he feels, and then talk about a few of the players. So top of the hour, we're going to get Steve Warren real quick before, guess what? He's going to watch his son, Braylon, play basketball, who's going to be the starting quarterback at Westside. So Jay Foreman, Austin Orman, Old School. We'll be right back.
You're listening to 93.7 The Ticket's coverage of early National Signing Day, sponsored by Members Own Credit Union on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. You're listening to Old School with DP and J. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just a professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, our passion. For happier, healthier furry friends. If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate, 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
Hey guys, Jake Sorensen here from Early Break. The garage door at our house has been needing replacement for a couple years, and a few months ago, we finally did something about it. Steve's Garage Doors and Services was great through the whole process in providing options and also going to the next level to get a door that was approved by our HOA. And best of all, the removal of the old door and installation of the new door was done smoothly with no issues. Call Steve's Garage Doors and Services today at 402-480-2840.
Belmont Chiropractic and Novotny Nutrition and Wellness specialize in getting rid of people's pain quickly and permanently. For 31 years, they've been extremely successful with advanced techniques in pain relief using spinal adjustments and decompression, detoxification, diet and lifestyle modification, and more. They are fully equipped to handle the most seasonal athlete, weekend warrior, car accidents, strains, sprains, and more. Is there anywhere you're experiencing pain on your body, or are you fighting decreased energy and depression? Consult Belmont Chiropractic and Novotny Nutrition and Wellness first at 402-476-8619.
Hey, it's Sean Callahan, and football season is here, and there is one place that has all the games, plus great food and beer specials. Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill. Whether it's Thursday night football, college football Saturdays, NFL Sundays, or Monday night football, there's a great view of the game from any seat with different food and drink specials every night. Try the Blue Ribbon Reuben Sandwich or the Prime Rib French Dip or any of their famous chicken dips. That's Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1, what's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2, join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving. Go cardio crazy in our clean and spacious clubs, or get down with some dumbbells and strength equipment. Step 3, bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month. It's glow time. See Club for details.
At Koppel, during the holidays, we take time to cherish our terrific staff, community, and loyal customers that continue to drive that money-saving mile to Louisville, Nebraska. Hi, this is Sean Callahan. I can proudly say I bought my car at Koppel. If you are in the area, I invite you to stop by Koppel Chevrolet GMC's offices in Louisville or check them out online at koppelcars.com. On behalf of Koppel Chevrolet GMC, Merry Christmas and safe travels to all.
Listening to 93.7 The Ticket's coverage of early National Signing Day, sponsored by Members Own Credit Union on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Old School, sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Broadcasting veteran Derek Pearson.
When you find something that moves them, that makes them smile, celebrate it. That's your task. That's your superpower.
Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score!
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What up? This is Old School, Jay Foreman, Austin Orman. We are coming live 1040 O Street. We are brought to you by the Mercado Certified Piedmontese Special Ingredients and Butcher Shop. Early signing day, National Signing Day. We have another former teammate, a great guest. But before he gets on here, I'm going to tell you something, man. This dude, man, every time I see him, I get hyped. But, you know, it's Steve Warren, and he started a Warren Academy and stuff like that. He had a vision, right? And when you hear somebody talk about the vision, you know when it's real. And here we are, I don't know how many years later. Seems like forever, but it just has gone so quick. Now with this class, with numerous Warren Academy graduates, because you know what the great thing about Steve is, you know, when a kid that has went through Warren Academy, you know what you're going to get. When we played at Nebraska, the pros knew what they were going to get. So without further ado, Steve, what's up, my man?
What's happening, homie?
Hey, man, you know, we nicknamed you the godfather of high level high school athletes in the break, man. So what's it what's it feel like to be a godfather on National Signing Day? Because I'm sure it's a proud moment because you've seen these kids go through your program. Like, that people don't understand, you guys have off-season programs. You do mentoring, you do development, and then you get them out there in competitive situations and then continue to mentor them during the season. How good does it feel for you today to see some of those guys reach their goal?
Man, it feels amazing. This last year has been really good just because a lot of these kids now have been with us. They started with us like 5th, 6th grade, right? So when we first started, guys were kind of starting with us in high school, and you know, you'd be with them for a year or two and then they're out. But these guys have been with us, a lot of them, since they were like kids, like Daniel Kalen for one, Donovan Jones. Like, they started with us as like 6th, 7th graders, right? Doing stuff. So we've seen them literally grow up, and they're mature and turn into the athletes they are right now. And then just Saturdays and Sundays, you know, we got kids playing now all over the country and in the NFL. And man, it's been, I mean, I couldn't tell you when I started this day that it'd be like this, but it's been great.
Steve, I wanted to ask you on signing day, and you know, whether you know where they're going or not, talk about how you woke up this morning, because you know, not only feeling proud, but to see that, you know, the families are happy, the kids are happy, and then, you know, kind of like the stamp of approval of Warren Academy and your coaches up there, what the coaches are going to get.
Man, you know, the hard part for me now is that I don't go to signing day.
Right.
Some of my coaches do, but I don't go because I can't. Because I don't want to feel like, you know, I went to this kid's and couldn't go to this kid's signing day, so I don't go. So, you know, I try to send out my messages, and tonight, you know, I'll go and I'll text a lot of the kids and their families and tell them congratulations. But it's just fun to see, man. Just some of the parents that I've gotten close with. You know, we talk all the time, so it's not like I just see them during the off season. Like, we talk all year long. And, you know, we hang out and they come over to my house and we go to their house. So it's really become like a family. And the fun part is when these kids play each other in different sports, or when they're training with each other, and just seeing that interaction throughout the year, and how those relationships are built, and then having them go to college together. It just, you know, it just makes everything even better.
Steve, one of the guys that I know is a Warren Academy a kid, now is a Husker. I wouldn't say he's under the radar, but I always say he's got stupid athletic ability. I mean, he's got position flexibility, athletic ability, and he's got a ton of upside, and that's Donovan Jones. Let our listeners know about him, because I'm telling you, if everything goes right and he gets developed, I'm telling you, he's going to be a guy like, man, why didn't we talk about him on December 20th in 2023?
And, you know, that's the funny thing, is that I listen to and I watch everything. You know, I'm always watching. So there hasn't been a lot said about him. And he's super athletic. He's got great size. And I was listening to Rule earlier today talking about kids that, you know, could play multiple positions or that are positionalists. And I think that's going to be him on defense. I think they'll be able to play him at safety and outside linebacker and nickel backer and all kind of places. And he's fast. He's athletic. He's smart. The best thing about Donovan Jones, though, is his demeanor, of how he goes about his business. Very serious. Always wanting to get better. Always wanting to get work. If there's anything extra he can do, he's that guy, right? He's trying to figure it out. He's trying to get there.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's all the things that we used to do, we used to think we used to have as we played. Another kid is obviously Daniel Kalen. I want to ask you about him, because everybody knows the situation, but I want to revert back to when he burst on the scene. And I think it was, correct me if I'm wrong, the Florida State offer. And then I asked you about him, and you was like, Jay, we just getting started with him. He going to be dangerous. And now look at him right now. Obviously, he has a competitive gene, which I think you guys fostered and obviously developed in him. Talk about Daniel Kalen as the quarterback, but then also as a young man right now.
I think the thing people are going to learn about him is, like you said, that competitive gene. Like, he is super competitive. So with Raiola coming there, that's not scaring him, right? Like, he's going to compete. And that's the one thing I loved about it, was he never really wavered. You know, of course, when we talked to him, our advice was, like, listen to everybody that's going to come back in and try to give you a pitch, because you deserve that, right? Like, you should listen. you should listen. But at the same time, like if you're not afraid of competition, which he's not, go where your heart is. And that's what he did. And that's why people saw that he really was like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Like I'm not worried about it. I'm going to go in and compete, and whatever happens, happens. As long as they give me a competitive chance, that's all I can ask for. So, great kid, another high character kid though, right? Another kid that people are going to love being around and talking to. Him and Donovan Jones are kind of cut from that same cloth. It's just great kids to be around.
One thing, one last question, Steve, before we let you go, is that we're in Lincoln, obviously, and I'm always pitching that Lincoln needs to have a little bit more of a Metro Omaha type of mindset. So when you look at the 8 kids from Nebraska, and I'm going to count them out, pretty much all of them, besides Carter Kaufman, so 7 of the 8 are from the Metro. What is it that you were doing specifically with a lot of the kids up there in the Metro area that is leading to the success, not only on the field, the classroom as well, because you guys check up on their grades, but then ultimately getting the scholarship offers? Because I think what you guys do, if it was infused in Lincoln, you might pop up, see some more names pop up on there on signing day.
The big thing is just putting them around each other. Like, Jay, like we both were guys that were dudes on their team, right?
Right.
And you need to take the next step to get to the next level. You need to surround yourself by other dudes, right? You just can't be the top guy everywhere you go. So the one thing we do is we put them in situations where you're not the guy, right? Like you might not be the guy when you come in here today. Like, and I think kids come to us, and a lot of kids shy away from it.
Right.
Like they'll come over to us and they're like, man, that's not too much. It's too much smoke in there right now. Like, it's like, I never even heard of this kid, and he is giving me the business.
Right.
And I think that's what we do is we put them in a situation where they're not the guy.
Yeah. Where
you've got to actually earn it. Like, and we don't treat them any different. Like Daniel, Donovan, Ashton Murphy, all those guys come in. They get treated like everybody else. Like, we're not going to sugarcoat anything with you. We're going to tell you the truth. If you need to work on something, we're going to tell you that, and we're going to treat you as a developmental player because they are. Like, they're high school kids. Like, nothing about these kids is great right now. You're good.
Right.
You're not great right now. You're good. You're good for high school. You're great for high school, but that don't mean anything once you get to the next level. It all changes.
Right. Yeah, man. That's good stuff, man. Steve, I know you're busy. Braylon's going to tell Braylon, if you talked to him before the game, I want at least 2 or 3 threes, man. So
I got you.
Yeah, all right, man.
I got you. You got to get on the rebounds, though. You got to use all that other things to get on the board.
Hey, man, you're a quarterback. Let him sit out there and try to shake your back, man.
No, you got to get dirty. We don't play that quarterback stuff.
I hear you, man. But again, thanks for stopping on, Steve. I appreciate you. We'll have you on in the future, but we're going to go to break now. Jay Foreman, Austin Orman, Old School. We'll be right back.
You're listening to 93.7 The Ticket's coverage of early National Signing Day, sponsored by Members Own Credit Union on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
New year, new career. The new year is just around the corner. Why not start it off strong with a new career? General Excavating is looking for qualified underground utility project managers. Check out our website, generalexcavating.com, or call 402-467-1627 for more information. Happy holidays from General Excavating.
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 10th and P or at 1501 Center Park Road.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1, what's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2, join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving. Go cardio crazy in our clean and spacious clubs, or get down with some dumbbells and strength equipment. Step 3, bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month. It's glow time. See Club for details.
This is Rick Heyman from Sartor Heyman Jewelers, inviting you to our new outlet jewelry store at 12th and O in downtown Lincoln. Amazingly, we still have fabulous items we bought 1 year ago and beyond. Well, you know what an outlet store is. Unbeatable prices throughout the store. Closeouts up to 70% off. Don't delay. When it's gone, it's gone. You won't see everything on our website, so you gotta come in. The Outlet by Sartor Heyman, where luxury and affordability meet. Opening November 25th in Lincoln at 12th and O.
The Southern Pecan Cake from Beatrice Bakery. They don't just let you call anything Southern, especially when it's baked right here in Nebraska. But there are standards you have to meet, like a rich, decadent, moist caramel cake? Check. Bursting with too many large pecans to count? Check. Big enough to share with the whole group? Check. But delicious enough that you won't want to share? A big check on that one. The Southern Pecan Cake, the newest cake to the Beatrice Bakery lineup. Try it for yourself at Beatrice Bakery. Online at BeatriceBakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum.
Problem gambling affects millions of Americans daily, of all ages and walks of life. If your loved one is struggling with addiction, contact Choices Treatment Center's 24-hour helpline at 402-476-2300. That's 402-476-2300.
There's only one place this holiday season to shop for the sports fan in your life and get cash back for slightly used sports items you don't need anymore. Play It Again Sports. Check out their selection of new and used items, including home fitness equipment like treadmills, exercise bikes, and ellipticals. And get your lift with free weights, benches, and racks to add to your home gym. And don't forget, if you have anything slightly used to trade in, they'll give you instant cash. Holiday shopping starts and ends at Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Where will your path take you, traveler? To seek fortune in a new career? Or on a journey to distant lands for a well-deserved vacation? Wherever you go, one distraction could spell disaster. You can change your fate, adventurer. Don't drive distracted. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Hey, it's Sean Callahan, and football season is here, and there is one place that has all the games, plus great food and beer specials. Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill. Whether it's Thursday night football, college football Saturdays, NFL Sundays, or Monday night football, there's a great view of the game from any seat with different food and drink specials every night. Try the Blue Ribbon Reuben Sandwich or the Prime Rib French Dip or any of their famous chicken wings. That's Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill.
Whether you're booking a trip to Lincoln for a football game or a volleyball weekend, the Scarlet Hotel at Innovation Campus is the place for you. The Scarlet Hotel is special on many levels, from the delicious Well and Good restaurant on the main floor to the coolest rooftop patio bar in Lincoln, the Barred Owl, on the top floor of the hotel with great views of the city and one of the coolest drink menus. Book your stay or book a staycation today at scarlethotelnebraska.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning. Now in our new time, we're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
You're listening to 93.7 The Ticket's coverage of early National Signing Day, sponsored by Members Own Credit Union on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Back to old school with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What up? We're back. Jay Foreman, Austin Orman, old school. DP is off doing his thing. We want to give another shout out to Damon Benning and Steve Warren, two former teammates, obviously calling in and blessing us with knowledge, obviously from two different perspectives. Obviously with Damon and his son in the class, and then Steve as the godfather of development in Nebraska has a very unique perspective as well, and has had a impact on Nebraska as far as developing kids and getting kids to not only the University of Nebraska but other schools. I mean, he had Noah Fant, who was a top 10 pick. I can go on and go on. Guys that he's had from very early, and then they went off and did some great things. Harrison Phillips, obviously with the Stanford, is still playing in the NFL, and then a host of Huskers and so forth and so on. So really, really good information. Obviously, I think it's really good also to have different perspectives on there, because I think it's just, hey man, this recruiting thing with the transfer portal gets intense, but I think that it was really, really handled well. And you look at it, I was looking at 2023's class, heavy on defensive line, not so much this year, right? With the transfer portal guys, and they had a couple other guys, a lot of guys in the class itself, right? We think of Riley Van Poppel, who played like he had to stop at Illinois. He didn't look like a freshman. You saw Judy start to come on towards the end of the year. He had a blocked field goal, but you started to see some activity there, along with Nash and Ty and a host of other guys. And then you look at it like heavy on offensive line again this year, which is when Matt Rule has said we're trying to, build across the lines. And then you think, you lose a lot in the defensive backfield. They hit some defensive backs, and now look at it, in receiver 6 and 6, right? But when you have a numerous amount of athletes, it can go both ways. So you can kind of get over inundated in one or not. And then, receiver, this year is going to be huge, to go along with the 3 or 4 freshmen they had last year that made some impact, and particularly 3, with Malachi Coleman, Lloyd, and Doss, got in a lot towards the end of the year because they had to. And, it's good. Then they got a couple tight ends as well. Obviously, Carter Nelson, is at the top of that list, and some of the other guys. So I think overall it's a good stat, or a good class of highly ranked players that you maybe see pop right away. Some development, the guys that need to develop maybe need a year or two, and then guys that are going to either swing your class to really, really good, or kind of like right where they're ranked at right now. What do you think?
Yeah, for being a big class, it's a good mix of guys. I'm glad you brought up tight end. That's a position that I don't think has gotten talked a whole lot about the other guys outside of Carter Nelson. You hate to call them the other guys in that class, but Neil Smith's son, Keelan. Is he a tight end? Is he a big body wide receiver? What does he turn into?
Yep.
The Ian Flint guy from Texas had some guys saying, watch out for him. He's an under the radar one. The one I didn't really understand adding to the class, but maybe it's because they see something I don't, was Ingerson from Papio. That's when I thought they were pretty full there already. Thought they had some guys, but Fedoni was okay this year. His first real action. Borkacher didn't do as much as I thought he would. Lindenmeyer didn't really flash. So if Nebraska's targeting that many tight ends, they must want to use them.
Right.
And that pro style kind of offense. We heard Matt Rule bring up the 49ers. They've used a lot of, 12 personnel and 21 personnel in years past. Having those versatile pieces that you can move around, mix and match depending on matchup, it makes a lot of sense. So I love what Nebraska's doing at the tight end position, and hope we see more out of that position moving forward.
Yeah, and when you got Ian Flint and you think Ingerson, those guys are already 245 pounds where they can set the edge, right? When you're trying to be physical, you need some offense, or you need some tight ends that can set the edge. And Borkacher and Fedoni got better as the season went on, and Lindenmeyer as well. But he's a true freshman,
right?
And you got to think he's from Papio, I think, as well. One of the schools. I know they got like 4 of them up there. So you got a little bit of intel on Eric Ingerson, and then you think of Smith, Keelan Smith, and then also you think of Carter Nelson. You have guys that can play tight end, maybe backside. Both of them are right around 200 pounds. They say they get up to 215. But more importantly, though, Austin, if you're very, very young and green on the outside as far as the receivers, if you're able to get guys combined with some of the guys they got last year and the guys on the roster as far as tight end, Carter Nelson and Keelan Smith fit that hybrid position to where you can transition quicker, right? Because you're setting up matchups, right? Carter Nelson and Keelan Smith against the Jay Foreman. They like that matchup, even though they're very young, right? And so you're not having to set the edge against a 250, 60-pound defensive end, and you're outweighed and out in strength and experience, or try to block him, get up and try to either decide to block the onside linebacker or the safety dropping it in the box. Whereas you can get them backside, and it's either literally A or B, most likely A. Then you get a favorable matchup backside if they choose to do so, and they develop. So I think it's really, really good to have 4 of them in there, but it's like 2 and 2. And also, if you look at Keelan Smith, who I think explosiveness-wise is going to be the biggest surprise, because he played in the biggest, class in Missouri. But when you watch his tape, he is extremely explosive.
For a big dude.
I'm talking about in and out of breaks. He's running it. He's gotten a lot better. And, I think mentally and becoming that kind of dog mentality, that lead dog mentality, and know And the thing about it, I think he got better as more eyes got on him. So what does that mean?
Kind of like what Damon was saying with Caleb.
Right. Competitive nature, internally motivated. That's what you like to see. So I like it right there. And then obviously when you get Grant Bricks and they, obviously went to great lengths, they brought the big old Nebraska truck up there and put it, I guess in his lawn or wherever it was. I mean, I don't think he had a choice out of that, right? I don't think anybody was, really thoughtful enough to bring a big old semi there up there. But then also the guy that's just because of where he lives right now isn't getting a lot of run. You think Preston Taumua, a big man though, right? 6'4", 315, and looks for a high school kid look really good for a 6'4", 215 kid. Obviously, you have Donovan Raiola, then you have Dylan Raiola. Both are from Hawaii. Makes that transition easier. Ben Scott as well. So there, he's able to essentially fly halfway across it seems like the world and across the country to Nebraska and transition faster, then also develop faster on and off the field.
There's been a lot of talk about Nebraska recruiting. Texas and Pennsylvania and obviously Florida and California are big. But that Polynesian pipeline is kind of dried up for Nebraska recently.
Right.
Not as many high-impact players as you would have thought. I mean, Noah Pola-Gates was pretty highly rated, didn't do really anything at Nebraska. So to see the Raiola family come back, I think that's pretty big. There's some talent coming out of Hawaii. Remember a couple of years ago, Nebraska got that Ho'ohuli linebacker from out there that was pretty highly rated. There's a pipeline there. If Donovan Raiola can tap into that, if Dylan has connections back there, I think that's an utilized, kind of buried beneath the surface pipeline for Nebraska that on the down low, they can bring some guys in. Taumua is an interesting guy. I've had some conversations with Brian Munson about him where Nebraska wants him to finish out high school, make sure everything's in order, come in the summer and then really hit it hard there. That's a guy that has some room to add on to that frame.
Right. Oh, yeah.
As big as he is now, he's going to be a monster in a couple of years.
Yeah. If you want to really what Nebraska would like to see the end product, look at the Oregon State left tackle and then look at the University of Arizona left and right tackle. Both of them are supposed to go in top 10.
Right.
Big, strong, physical, but quick feet and heavy hands. He fits all that. There's one guy right here. I'm going to tell you, I watched the tapes and I do a black shirt breakdown for Rivals there, is Landon Davidson. And I saw his tape. Listen, you talk about play with an edge. That edge is razor sharp. He's a big dude, 6'4", 308 pounds, 300 pounds, but he can move in space. And he's not playing any games. Now, granted, doing it in high school and doing it in college, but he only can play against who he's going to play against. And he was not playing games. And I always say he was an equal opportunist, right? DB, you can get some. Linebacker, you can get some. D-line, you definitely going to get it. So he was just giving it to everybody. I like it because he's coming in under the radar, right? The lowest rated offensive lineman that's on, him and Jake Peters, again, same mentality, right? Alexander Rugaroli preferred walk-on, eventually will probably be on scholarship. Jake Peters, Davidson, and I will tell you this, I'm going to throw Ian Flint in there, even though he's a tight end, he has an offensive line mentality. And then also Gibson Pyle. Right. Those three, they set the tone, and they will pop like early in camp and stuff like that to where you got to potentially make a decision on their 4 games or if they go over 4 games. They all move well. They all finish. They all are at a good weight that they're not coming into college with bad weight. You know what I'm saying?
They have to lose and then regain.
Right. So I think what just from what I see, right, is that they're coming in at a weight that they can carry right now, that they're big enough to hit the initial measurables, but they're not. So take Gibson Pyle, 6'4", 285. He's not 6'4", 305 pounds, and he has 20 pounds of kind of just added weight that he necessarily doesn't need, especially at the high school level. He can continue and slowly but surely get bigger, faster, and stronger. And that's what you want with all your, players that are coming in. But in particular, in my opinion, the offensive line, so you can get the development, keep the quickness or gain some quickness, and then also develop the strength and put on the good weight versus you're getting here and you're like, okay, I'm 308 pounds, but should I be weighing 308 pounds at 18 years old, right? Is a good weight. Can I move, or have I lost some of the speed and quickness that I had that made me appealing to numerous Power 5 schools? So it's very interesting how they went about it. Obviously, I think Davidson he carries that weight well. I mean, he carries it real well.
You add those guys to Gatula, to Sledge, to Evans, Jenkins. What do you see for the future of the Nebraska run game with those guys? What's it going to look like?
I think you want to be able to be. I guess I use the catchphrase multiple, right?
Sure.
You're going to want to be able to get up in 3rd and 2 and hopefully be a foregone conclusion. We're going to be able to get it. Whether it's I don't know. Well, we got to come up with a name. It can't
Whether playing Iowa or Northern Iowa.
It can't be tush push. Well, we got to come up with the Cornhusker cradle or whatever we can get it going straight ahead.
Mm-hmm.
But then you want to have big enough guys that can get out there on the perimeter and block in space and, be a little bit, not so predictable in the run game. That helps the passing game. That helps the short area passing game. It helps the initial, I call it conventional run game.
Mm-hmm.
It helps the potential to have the periodic RPO game. And then more importantly, it helps the play action game. So I think when you look at the way that these offensive linemen are coming in, you see movement right away. You're seeing guys that can move. So then it's like, okay, we know you can move. You got quickness. We'll get you in our weight program, all-season program, to get you quicker, bigger, faster, stronger, then develop you on the field simultaneously. And that's how you're able to get better athletes out there that's going to allow you to run multiple different blocking schemes. When you look at a team that you would like to probably fashion your offensive line, after, is like Michigan. They got big guys, but they're not, 330, 340. You don't see that. What do you see? You see guys, all of them about 305, 310 at the most, 295, and all can move. And they can play with some they can play with the same type of intensity and physicalness in the first quarter and the third and fourth quarter. Why? Is because they've systematically have added good weight. So they're not losing their cardio. They're not losing their ability to think under pressure or bend or anything like that as the game goes on. And that's a unique quality that has to be, in the evaluation process as well.
When you say guys that can move too, I think of it in 2 other aspects. Number one, getting off the ball quick, making first contact, and then maintaining that athletic stance, not standing straight up or not getting pushed over. When you say these guys are athletes that can get out there and move to that second level, that tells me that they should be pretty quick off the ball and able to maintain that stance and not get pushed around either.
Yeah, and one thing when I look at it, I look at how they move when they pull, and are they able to be tight when they pull? Because these are things when you evaluate these kids. Look, Grant Bricks obviously was playing against. He's bigger and stronger than everybody.
Right.
But is he moving? Is he able to turn the corner and then drop his hips and really get into somebody and finish blocks? Can he block in space to maybe he needs to get. He's going downfield after a long run. Can he kind of somehow get his hands on a little squirrely defensive back? That's how you can evaluate whether he can move in space. And so getting off the ball is huge. And the improvement that we saw across the offensive line of being able to get off the ball and at times, really run the ball effectively. And then also at times, especially late in the season, pass protect effectively, allow these guys to come in and learn and develop, and versus throwing them out there. And then it's almost like I would say with David Carr, you threw him out there and then you're out there, you're learning, yes, but you're taking a lot more losses than wins. You want to be able to get these guys out there when they're able to win some battles and develop along the way.
And you bring up David Carr. I was going to go there next with this offensive line too. I mean, priority one in a lot of fans' minds is keep the number 1 prospect in the class, QB1 of the future upright. Sacks go on quarterbacks, right? They're the ones that get hit. But sacks, I think, are often held against the offensive line, understandably so. But at the same time, to the untrained eye, it seems like Nebraska's quarterbacks have either stepped into a lot of sacks or not done a good job of setting the pocket for their offensive linemen all the time.
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, obviously, I think a few years ago, obviously, that was part of the offense where, Adrian was so great of making magic off schedule. It almost became part of an offense. But sometimes, and that's just actually, I look at more of a credit to Adrian because he was just that effective of a quarterback. But sometimes you can go to that well too much, and then you can kind of, again, take some sacks you shouldn't. But we saw even like early in the first game of the season, I felt like one of the interceptions that Sims threw, I felt like the offensive, he had so much time. It was like almost too much. I was like, you have to do something. There was multiple times where they had it blocked up against some good rushes. And so I think it's a give or take right there with the offensive line and quarterbacks. But ultimately, these guys coming in, right? You got 6 offensive linemen coming in, and and obviously one's a preferred walk-on. So you got 5 scholarship guys right now as of today coming in the offensive line. they should all take pride into as they develop, and hopefully if they get out there at the same time with Dylan and or Daniel Kalen, that they are going to protect those guys. There should be a bond with these offensive linemen and their quarterbacks and all of their offensive players that goes a little bit deeper than just saying, you know what, we're just in the same class as the number one overall quarterback in 2024 is a 24 class.
Right. And hey, NIL's around, so Dylan can take him out to steak dinner once a week or something, right?
Yeah, they got
Dom's probably telling him to.
Yeah, well, you better. You better. Look, those are the dudes that, help you stay up upright and keep you healthy. I mean, when I was in Houston, I would always do something for the D-line. I mean, they got a thankless job. Offensive line, you don't hear about offensive linemen generally, obviously, especially around here in Nebraska, because, we're trying to reestablish a, identity across the, obviously being, with the pipeline. Generally you haven't heard about this offensive line or these linemen individually that much in a positive light. So you want to make sure when they're doing a good job for you that you're taking good care of them, taking them out for pizza, bowling, hanging around with them. That bond that you have off the field will play out on the field as well. And so, I think it's a good class for Nebraska. I'm sure they're excited and happy. They got a couple flips, and then they got some guys that they were able to double down on. So I think we're going to take a break and come back, and I really want to dive into some of the guys that obviously haven't been talked about a lot. So I'm thinking about the Roger Gradney, obviously Daniel Kalen, the Davon Hall. I want to talk about the Willis McGahee, the Isaiah McMorris, these type of guys, because those are the ones that are kind of be your that can really take your class to be special. You know what I'm saying? If some of those guys exceed expectations, the Mario Brufords, all right, the Keelan Smith, where does Quinn Clark fit in? 6'5", 190. Listen, he's listed as a wide receiver right now. I got to see what his mentality is coming from Montana, Bozeman. There's probably some good hunting up there. I know there's some good fishing. I've seen it on Instagram. But you think about him, Quinn Clark, and if he has the right mentality, we can get him in a weight program. Oh, no offense. Your hand might be in the dirt, because as I always say about Joey Porter, then you talk about Vincent Shavers that they probably been working on quite some time under the radar. Then you have a guy right here from Littleton, Colorado, Rex Guthrie. Okay, nobody's talked about him, right? Middle of like I say, 86, so he's a more higher ranked 3-star. Gives you position flexibility. When you think of Rex Guthrie, you think of Isaac Gifford. Jack of all trades, right? If he gets to about 210 and keeps the speed and quickness, then he can move into the box on third down. Can be kind of that rover, right? That can allow some of your other safeties that are maybe a little bit more athletic and have a little bit more experience, especially coming from where he came from as far as his league, to really, really play. And, Donovan Jones, we already talked about him. So you got some guys in there that you can really, really cash in on if they, choose to take the path that's the best for them. So we're going to take a quick break, talk about some other guys in the class, Jay Foreman, Austin Orman. We'll be right back.
You're listening to 93.7 The Ticket's coverage of early National Signing Day, sponsored by Members Own Credit Union on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. You're listening to Old School with DP and J. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Load up on meat and more this holiday season at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese at 84th and Havelock. Keep posted to the Mercado's social media pages for specific daily deals from now all the way through Christmas Eve on December 24th. Don't forget their 2 new locations now open at 30th and Yankee Hill in Lincoln and 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Hey, it's Sean Callahan, and football season is here, and there is one place that has all the games, plus great food and beer specials. Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill. Whether it's Thursday night football, college football Saturdays, NFL Sundays, or Monday night football, there's a great view of the game from any seat with different food and drink specials every night. Try the Blue Ribbon Reuben Sandwich or the Prime Rib French Dip or any of their famous chicken wings. That's Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill.
Concrete Industries, a Nebco company, has immediate job openings for precast production laborers. Concrete Industries offers great pay, health benefits, 401k, a wellness program, holidays, and paid time off. Apply today to earn a starting pay of $20 per hour and a $1,500 hiring bonus. Concrete Industries is hiring all experience levels and offers on-the-job training. Start your career today as a precast production laborer. Visit concreteindustries.com.
You're counting on your team to win, so why not prove it? At Warhorse Sportsbook, their win is your win. Put your money where your mouth is on nearly every sporting event. Use the Warhorse app to check odds and build your bets before placing your wagers in person at Warhorse Casino in Lincoln or Horseman's Park in Omaha, including live in-game betting. No bets, no glory. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
This is Rick Heyman from Sartor Heyman Jewelers, inviting you to our new outlet jewelry store at 12th and O in downtown Lincoln. Amazingly, we still have fabulous items we bought 1 year ago and beyond. Well, you know what an outlet store is. Unbeatable prices throughout the store. Closeouts up to 70% off. Don't delay. When it's gone, it's gone. You won't see everything on our website, so you gotta come in. The Outlet by Sartor Heyman, where luxury and affordability meet. Opening November 25th in Lincoln at 12th and O.
Landmark Implement is your local authorized John Deere dealer. Landmark's trained and certified sales staff will help you find the right equipment for your needs at a price that's right for you, all backed by Landmark's extensive parts and service network. Whether it's a tractor, planter, combine, an easy track lawnmower, or gator, every piece of equipment in pre-owned inventory is put through a rigorous inspection, so it's ready to work hard for you. Landmark's team works together to make sure everything is sold meets their quality standards. Learn more at landmarkimp.com or stop into a local Landmark location and experience the Landmark difference.
Whether you're booking a trip to Lincoln for a football game or a volleyball weekend, the Scarlet Hotel at Innovation Campus is the place for you. The Scarlet Hotel is special on many levels, from the delicious Well and Good restaurant on the main floor to the coolest rooftop patio bar in Lincoln, the Barred Owl, on the top floor of the hotel with great views of the city and one of the coolest drink menus. Book your stay or book a staycation today at scarlethotelnebraska.com.
Where will your path take you, traveler? To seek fortune in a new career, or on a journey to distant lands for a well-deserved vacation? Wherever you go, one distraction could spell disaster. You can change your fate, adventurer. Don't drive distracted. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Problem gambling affects millions of Americans daily, of all ages and walks of life. If your loved one is struggling with addiction, contact Choices Treatment Center's 24-hour helpline at 402-476-2300. That's 402-476-2300. Sandhills Global is hiring. Check out sandhills.jobs for more information. Sandhills is looking to fill hundreds of new openings in sales, traveling support, software development, web design, and more. Sandhills has a professional culture and is fast-paced with a focus on growth, innovation, and leading-edge technologies. Career and internship opportunities are available at our global headquarters in Lincoln, Nebraska. Apply today at sandhills.jobs.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
So he can maybe run a
So like speed option, those things, all you want to do.
Speed, I can't see him.
It's also,
look
what you did. Look what you did. Look at Bill.
Down.
Come on
Just
now.
calm down.
I don't say anything about semicolons or should there be a
Word
parentheses
usage?
or
Too many commas over there.
Too many
Zip. Come on.
run-on sentences. Don't talk about that. It's not my wheelhouse.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning. You're listening to 93.7 The Ticket's coverage of early National Signing Day, sponsored by Members Own Credit Union on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Back to old school with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back. Jay Foreman, Austin Orman. We got about 12 minutes, maybe, right? 12 minutes. Text line blowing up again. Text line, we appreciate the activity. Obviously, it's probably been active ever since early breaking this morning with Jake Sip and Coach Bush, but obviously went into with Nick and AD and Chris Raff in the drive, and then the black shirt and the captain. Happy Hour, Steve Taylor and Rico, and then obviously On the Block with you and Strick, and then obviously Old School has been tremendous activity, and rightfully so. But we appreciate you guys, and also, I guess by the time we had a bathroom break and came back, we had from 52-53 unknown texter. Did Chubba Purdy enter the portal? Big Daddy Travis, and he confirmed it less than a minute later. And now we got Henry, Big Bank Hank. Is that Henry who changed the name?
Yeah,
that's right. I love you,
him.
Henry.
Yep.
He said Purdy gone. But anyways, not to be callous, but if that is the truth, what it is, obviously, you want to wish him luck, but also I'd be willing to bet that he would be welcome back as well. So, but you can't fault him. He's graduated from college, so he's done everything he needed to do. He's been a good teammate and came in and infused a good amount of energy and life into that quarterback position and the way it could have been played, and was a valiant effort, multiple times, down the stretch there. So if he wants to go on and play somewhere, I'd never fault that. If it's not going to work out here for you, or you don't think it will, and you want to go somewhere else, I'd never fault the kid that want to go somewhere else and play. But I do think that possibly, I can't speak for the coaches, but I could see a situation where it could work out for him, himself. So wish him luck, but you never know what can happen down the road. So Chubba Purdy in the portal with the third guy today, right? So Garrett Snodgrass is stepping away from the team, and then Eric Fields is not in the portal. Did he not just come home after Thanksgiving? Did he just go the turkey was the itis got him?
I thought he came back and then just all of a sudden up and left.
Right, yeah.
So
yeah. You just never know. And sometimes, look, football is a hard sport, and competing and going against guys that are at that point when you are a freshman and you haven't been on the field, and you might be I can guarantee you he's probably taken more L's than he ever had in his high school career. Extremely productive. I think Tony White even talked about him in the preseason, talked about how good he was. And then sometimes it takes a little while for younger guys to see the forest through the trees, right? Whereas, you could go out there and play, but we're trying to make sure when you go out there and play. Now, number one, for him, because he has some shoulder injuries, to be as healthy as possible. But then also when you're physically and mentally and spiritually ready to play. So hopefully he finds his way back to Lincoln. I'm sure the coaches are reaching out to him and trying to help him, with anything that he's got going on. So
that linebacker spot's up for grabs.
Oh, he was a guy that I thought would just start. I mean, Luke Reimer's gone. Nick's done playing football. Bullock came back. It wasn't a foregone conclusion he came back, but really, when you think about it, he only has 1 year. I guess you could move Makai back there, or maybe even like MJ Sherman if you have to. But then you're kind of taken away from, if you move MJ Sherman or back there, then you're taken away from that jack position, which they have enough depth. But as far as Eric Fields, there's a legitimate path if things are done right that you get there. So hopefully he's just taking some time for himself, and hopefully he'll come back. So anyways, we talked about before we went to break some of the guys in the class that for obviously for obviously reasons don't get talked about enough, but I think they're guys in the class that could really pay huge dividends to really take this class to another level where you're like, okay, you're top 20, 22. You can even be like, man, after this class, this could be, a top, 12 class. So when you think of, I talked about Rex Guthrie, right? 3-star commit from Littleton, Colorado. When you watch his tape, he's able to do a whole bunch of different things. In his league, he's able to play a field safety or in the middle of the field safety, make some plays there, does really good job of in the box, but he's a really, really sure tackler. So what does that think? That kind of gives you position flexibility back there, because they kind of play like a little, I call it a diamond, where 2 safeties, and you got a rover that kind of can either be up front or even back in like a cover 2 look. And then obviously special teams is huge too. Being 6'1", 200, it gives you ability to have speed on special teams right like that within a year or two. So
Is he more Isaac Gifford or more Nate Gary?
That's a good question. I mean, I think Nate Gary athletic ability was stupid coming out of high school. I would Isaac Gifford too, so I don't want to take anything away from him. But Nate Gary was already like next level as a freshman. I'm gonna say more Isaac Gifford because as good as Nate Gary was athletically, I felt like he was just a strong safety. I think Isaac Gifford can play strong. Obviously, he's shown to be able to play rover, and I think if he got a little bit more experience, he can play a little bit of a half field safety as well. So I'd probably say he's a little bit more Isaac Gifford, and they know better than me, but I think that the guy that I like, right, when you think of what Eric Fields is gone, we got to find somebody that's young enough to really step in and do it. I'm thinking about two guys, and they come from Florida, Vincent Shavers and Willis McGahee the fourth. 161, 225, right? I think Willis McGahee the fourth is.
Yep.
And then you got Vincent Shavers, 6'1", 200. And let me tell you something about Vincent Shavers. He is coming to the party with bad intentions.
You like that? You need that.
The one thing that here's one thing I will tell you about the brothers from Florida. I'm gonna just to tell you this, man. They gonna run and hit, and they gonna compete. I'm telling you. And they don't. Size is not a deterrent.
Levante David.
Right. Before we get it, big shout out to Levante David. 10 straight years, 100 tackles. Trust me, I did it like 4, and I was like, all right, that's a 2. Look, you almost tripled it. Big shout out to Levante David. Clearly, the probably the best linebacker that came through Nebraska. Obviously pro wise. I mean, only being here 2 years. Here's the funny thing when you think about recruiting. Levante David came from JUCO. Here's the thing. Here's the people just gloss over this. Bo Pelini didn't play him that much because they were talking about he was swimming in it. He was making 10, 12 times. You want to know why Bo Pelini called me? Because I called him out on the radio. Because I said, listen, you can say he's swimming in it. He's swimming in the backfield. He's swimming in the passing lane. And he's swimming with a running back. The dude's making tackles. I don't forget that. Then you call him the wrong defense. Right?
If that dude is balling out and he doesn't understand it, simplify. Get that man on the field.
Yeah, so, I mean, a big shout out to him. But, again, Vincent Shavers, where you think about Nebraska to get a flip and a guy leave from Miami, a hometown, to come here to Nebraska, I think he could pay dividends. And, he's going to be coming up here with a competitive edge. And then, obviously, Willis McGahee, the fourth, a little bit bigger and a little bit more established, again, from Miami, so I'm sure they know each other. They got him listed as an edge. Shows pass rush ability, shows blitzing ability. But with his dad and his pedigree, he can run and hit. And so you got two guys right there that are in a position of need. I do think Willis McGahee can play stack linebacker, where Shavers already has played it, right? So I think he gives you like 2 and 1. And he has the pedigree to do it and a knowledge of the game. And both of them want to be here. So you won't have 6 guys come from Florida, kind of like at the very end. And next thing you know, they're gone in 6 months. Now, I obviously think COVID probably had some issues with it, but you had 6 guys. They didn't even last 6 months. I think these guys are hopefully sticky, stick it out the whole time.
Shavers in the stack I like, and maybe McGahee gets on the field a la Cam Lenhart or Prince Uman Mielen. Maybe he doesn't. But just think if you can rotate Princewell and Willis McGahee the fourth,
right.
That jack linebacker, young guys that are learning and growing.
And Jamari Butler too.
Jamari's in that conversation, absolutely. Nebraska can do a lot of interesting things with that jack linebacker. They can put the hand in the dirt. They can stand him up. They can move him around. You mentioned even the defensive line with Riley Van Poppel before.
Yeah.
You have 4 legit starting linemen, I think, in Ty and Nash, Cam Lenhart when he's healthy, and then Riley Van Poppel.
Yeah.
Made some plays. Tony White has some really interesting decisions to make this offseason.
Well, I think they're really interesting, but also I think that it's a good problem to have.
Great problem.
I mean, I think Tony White likes these problems, going home, eating the pizza, hanging out with his family, and they say, hey, Dad, what do you think? Well, he's like, I'm thinking about how to use all these good players I got versus sitting at home, having about 10 Modelos and trying to figure out how to get guys that can't walk or chew gum and can't play dead. I'm telling you, it's a good problem to have. And I think, it's something that they, instantly wanted to do. But then also you want to give Terrence Knighton, credit as well to be able to go and get a Van Poppel, who I think, correct me if I'm wrong, was a late enrollee. I mean, he came in August, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So for him to come in August, to develop that quickly and to not stick out like a sore thumb, not only is a credit to Terrence Knight and the coaching staff, Tony White and all them, but then also the Ty Robinson and Nash and those guys to bring them along as well. So I think, those guys are going to pay dividends. And then I think that, between Davon Hall, Evan Taylor, obviously McMorris and Barney, the one thing that we kind of glossed over is what between Barney and especially McMorris and then also Davon Hall, you get a punt returner, a punt return ability, kickoff return ability. So, I'm talking about being explosive, and that can make guys miss. So when you think of McMorris, you think of punt returner. Hall, more of a kick returner, and then even you can throw Gradney in there as a kick returner, punt returner. So those are things that where you're evaluating guys. It's not just, they're just a receiver. They're just a defensive back. And then Evan Taylor, 6'3", 180. Could start out as an outside corner, pretty smooth for a tall kid, and he's from Waxhaw, Nebraska, or Waxhaw, North Carolina. They play good competitive football down there as well.
They do. I'm glad you brought up the special teams aspect of it. Nebraska's still looking for that spark in the return game. Curious to see if those guys are able to flash. I love the idea of a slot receiver competition between Jalen Lloyd, Isaiah McMorris, and Ja'Cory Barney. I think Barney can be kind of that jitterbug, water bug type of guy in the slot that Nebraska hasn't seen in a while. A guy we haven't mentioned at receiver yet. I know you talked about him at the end of last segment. If he sticks at wide receiver, Quinn Clark.
Yeah.
Can he be the next like Quincy Enunwa type of guy? Can he grow into a body maybe Niles Paul-esque? I don't think he's got the best speed on the team, but if he can grow into that big-bodied outside receiver that you can go to on third and intermediate, Nebraska's been lacking that too. I think that'd be a good get.
He could be like a Maurice Purify, who was like 6'4", 6'5".
Yep.
And also I think when you think about Willis McGahee coming up here, Shavers, you got Amari Sanders, and then you're getting some guys coming up from Florida, so they all can kind of go through it together. Want to give a shout out to Mario Buford, probably mentally besides probably Caleb Benning, most ready to go. DeSoto, Texas, that team, no joke. They for real. And they've been coached hard. So, and his brother is going to make sure that he, transitions pretty well. But the one guy that I didn't get to talk about, that I'm going to talk about right now, goes to Shadow Creek. Okay. From Pearland, Texas, Braylon Prude, my man, that I played with, what's his name? It's Billy Graham, right? Because he came, or Billy Granville, excuse me, coaches him. And he told me about him. He's like, Jay, he's a little undersized, obviously being 6'4", 190. He's like, he could play defensive end, he could play Sam linebacker, and he could play rush linebacker. He's a guy in 2 or 3 years, if he sticks it out, will be a guy. And they got him listed at linebacker right now. So
music to Jay Foreman's ears.
I do, yeah. Well, it's not Devontae here. I'm looking forward to watching him play. So again, text line, we'll get to you tomorrow. We're going to take a lot. I hear you, Drew. I got to give Drew his Corey and Lincoln, Casey Thompson, solid backup to Raiola. I don't know about that, but Drew, here we are. He said he's having 10 Modelo's tonight. If anybody knows Drew, if he's standing tomorrow, give him a fist pump. So anyways, yes, 56-37 Prude, a developmental dude of the class. Yes, if he develops, those are the guys that take your class to a whole nother stratosphere, right? So anyways, happy National Signing Day, early signing day. Big ups, good job, Nebraska, good job. Thanks again to Damon Benning, Steve Warren. Text line will be on it tomorrow. Jay Foreman, Austin Orman, Old School. We are out. Amon Green next.
You're listening to 93.7 The Ticket's coverage of early National Signing Day, sponsored by Members Own Credit Union on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
The holidays are right around the corner. This is a great year to give your family and loved ones a gift of shoes to encourage them to stay active. Fleet Feet Lincoln fits you properly for shoes, and they offer a free group that meets 3 days a week, plus other training programs and a walking group on Mondays. Get healthy, stay healthy with proper shoe wear from Fleet Feet Lincoln and a group of friends that will support you and keep you accountable. Start your health adventure at Fleet Feet Lincoln at 77th and Pioneers.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric is the call I make when I have a need for plumbing services. Whether it's for my home or office, if I need a repair to a water heater, softener, or even my garbage disposal, I know I can count on Action to help. In one simple call, their amazing customer service team promptly schedules a service call, often getting to my needs within a day. Action delivers honest, quality services we can count on. To learn more, visit actionlincoln.com.
I'm Steve Carper, and I'm here to tell you that there's never been a better time to buy flooring. Whether you need carpet, wood flooring, ceramic tile, vinyl, area rugs, or custom blinds, you got to come to O Street Carpet. With our 12-month interest-free financing, you can do one room or your whole house and leave your holiday budget intact. And with our huge in-stock selection, you can buy today and we'll install it right away. 1732 O Street. We want to make you a customer for life.
Gary with Gary